Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Bitcoin once again followed the stock market. The weekend was not really what I wanted. There was like a little bit of a dip right here, but still well above January 27th, about a week ago, and way above where we actually dropped at the lowest point at 33,000. The dip only went down to about 36.6, and following the stock market, crypto went straight up at after today's opening bell because the stock market, as you can see, went up today 406 points. As for tomorrow, the pre-market says the Dow Jones will actually be down a little bit when it opens, but we'll have to follow this as it goes into the night. This number is becoming very important on CNBC, the Dow Jones futures. The Nasdaq and the S&P tend to follow the Dow, so you can just like watch the Dow. The thing is, like last week, we ended on a good note, and even though today the futures were negative late into last night, once we opened, people started buying. We went up 400 points, and crypto, as you can see, went up several hundred points as well. So it's pretty obvious that Bitcoin is following the stock market pretty much basically leg for leg now, and the stock market could actually carry us. But despite this green movement, you can see that the volume for Bitcoin is very low and has been extremely low since the 28th or so. We had some activity from the 24th until like by the 27th, but since the 28th or so, volume has been extremely low. So any kind of up and down movement could mean huge swings. Now, if the Dow falls 600 points tomorrow, I think we will actually go below 35,000 again. But if we go up another 600 points on the Dow, I do think there's a decent chance that we'll actually challenge 40,000. So right now, like all the ascending triangles, descending triangles, whatnot, they really don't matter at all. Essentially, we've been at almost the same price for about 10 days now. But like all the ascending triangles, descending triangles, stochastics, RSIs, they don't really matter all that much at all right now. Right now, it just really matters of how the stock market is doing. I know crypto is supposed to be like counter traditional finance, but crypto is an investment asset, and everyone looks at it as an investment asset. So right now, it's definitely following the stock market. The overall pattern right now, I'm not a huge fan of. It almost looks like an ascending triangle. You could say it's forming a head and shoulders right here, but the shoulders kind of like significantly higher than the head right now. And it's kind of like, if you look at here, it's just kind of like on its, the lows are actually getting much higher right now since we started dipping, since we actually finished. But we've seen this trend before here as well. And after about 14 days or so, we dip back down. So it's definitely not time to celebrate. We definitely have not seen the reversal on the bear trend. And I think the only way we're going to really do so right now is if we actually go above 44,500. We need to get past the last plateau. You realize that, for each of these dips, for each of these Bitcoin dips, we did actually recover some, but we never went up to the last plateau. So if we can't get to the last plateau, we are not out of the bear market. Once again, like the volume for right now is kind of mirroring what it was several weeks ago, and that's not good. Like the 16th of January was really low, and then like when the volume started kicking up again, we started dumping. Right now, it looks like the volume's kicking up a little bit again, and we're actually pumping this time, but there's still not a big spike in the volume. So in the next week or so, we're going to have to see what happens. But of course, the last dump basically correlated and coincided with the big stock market dump. So right now, we are completely dependent on the stock market, and if anything's going to carry us, it's going to be the stock market. I don't really know what inflation fears, Russia fears, and everything else is going to do for the stock market, but if it dips again like it did a couple days ago, there's going to be a lot of pain. However, if it keeps rising back up by 500-600 points, crypto will actually rise back up. I think for the most part, the stock market has essentially recovered from last week's dip, but unfortunately, the crypto market has not. We need some more bullish economic momentum. And also, the thing with Gary Gensler's trying to make all DeFi securities does not help. Hopefully, Congress strikes that down. There are many players in Congress who really don't like that, and they're trying to basically stop Gary Gensler, the agencies, and everyone else. But the agency has seemed hell-bent on restricting crypto, while many congressmen are trying to stop it from restricting crypto. Agencies probably working for the banks. Many of the congressmen have their own crypto interests, especially in their state, so they might actually vote in rules that basically restrict what the SEC can do, and that's what we can actually hope for right now. The technical analysis, the EMA and the SMA on the 10 has switched to buy on the 10 daily. And, that's a very short-term thing. Since we've been stable for about 10 days and going up in the last two, that was kind of expected. So there might be a small short-term uptrend. Longer-term wise, we're still very much in the sell area. The 50 EMA is still way below the 200 EMA. We will definitely have to go into the upper 40,000s. To cross that, we're about $10,000 away from that. So right now, that's still not really in play. So I think, if anything, to get rid of the death cross and go into a golden cross, we'll at least need 3 or 4 weeks, probably longer than that. But if you're willing to buy for this week, maybe it's a buy, but longer term wise, it still looks to be sell right now. All the oscillators are pretty much neutral right now. Momentum has shifted positive, but that's only because of the last few days. Could shift negative at any point, especially if the stock market dumps. MACD levels getting less negative, so we're coming back into a buy. Right now, if you're really playing for the really short term for the next 2 or 3 days, maybe I buy a little bit, but otherwise either DCA or hold your money to see what actually happens. The clear bear signal, the clear bull signal would be at 50,000 with a smaller bull signal at around 44,000. So those are the levels that I've been actually repeating for several days now, and still the levels that I'm actually looking at. So right now, basically for the next 2 or 3 days, maybe buy, depending on stock market reports. You're essentially just flipping your coin on the stock market in this case right now, whether it goes up or down. And we don't really know what more earnings reports are coming in and how the street expectations actually are, how the virus is being contained or spreading, and how Russia is actually coming out. So if you think you can have a good grasp on those events, maybe buying and selling is for you. Otherwise, holding or DCAing is definitely the way to go right now. On the 1 week, we're still very negative on everything. Just to have the 10 on the 10 SMA and the 10 EMA change on the weekly, we would honestly have to be above 45,000 or so. So we're still about 7,000 away from that. So no relief there yet. Wouldn't buy for the weekly. I hope the first 2 weeks of February can actually be better going into Valentine's Day. Not that Valentine's Day matters at all, but that's just kind of a marker. But right now, everything is negative, and all the way down to the 50 weeks, it's actually negative, and 50 weeks is actually a year. So year over year, we're definitely negative for right now, and until we can at least get in the mid 40,000s, definitely would not push a bullish signal right now. I also don't think we're going to go down to 10,000. I think those are just those rumors can kind of be dismissed. I think every time we go really bullish, everyone thinks Bitcoin, a lot of people just for views on YouTube basically say Bitcoin's going to 10,000 or Bitcoin's going to 0. They're generally always wrong, but they get people to believe in them, and they get a lot of views that way because it's all dramatic and people like drama. But on the oscillators, everything is neutral except for the commodity channel index. Actually, both the commodity channel index and the RSI are actually oversold. So definitely, maybe in the next few days, it'll pump a little bit, but there's definitely no guarantee for anything longer than that. Momentum is shifting more positive as well. MACD level is still sell. The average directional index on the weekly is not very strong, so it could just be oversold right now. And if that's the case, you could pick up a little bit of gains by buying right now and maybe selling later in the week before it drops again, if it drops again. On the monthly, everything is still sell. Once again, we need to get into the mid 40,000s before we see a reversal. The oscillators are still basically all neutral, so it's all neutral right here. Obviously, if you go over a year, it's buy, but I really only look at the last year in terms of any gauge on the price right now. So essentially, the best indicator of whether we're going to drop or rise is you looking at the Dow Jones Futures Index at night, the Dow Jones during the day, and in the break time, look at how Asia is doing on the stock market and look at how Europe is doing on the stock market, because it's closely trendy. Bitcoin is closely following traditional assets right now. It has gone more mainstream, so everyone sees it as a risk asset, just kind of like tech stocks. specifically pay attention to the big tech stocks and see how they're doing, because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are going to be much more related to them than any other stocks. But the overall market is controlling how the crypto asset market is doing. Sure, there'll be a couple of gems in the rough, maybe something like Orion, or maybe other stuff that's actually launching right now. But overall, for Bitcoin and the crypto market, it is dependent on the stock market, and I have no idea how the geopolitical situation and how inflation fears are actually going to play out. I do expect the stock market to start recovering after mid-year as inflation starts to peter off, and I don't think inflation will completely peter off until like sometime next year, but it should start to recover sometime, at least like as we get into mid-year. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.